When does political disenchantment fully turn into disillusionment and ideals become ideologies? And when does disgust at what your country and your government are doing light a fuse, even a real fuse, attached to a real bomb under your anger? These are some of the questions raised by Homesick, presented by Assembly Theater starting Thursday night, March the 9th at Jack in Clinton Hill. And here's a little taste.
Still only know a part of the story. What they still have to find out is a good deal more about the extent of the bomb plot and the extent to which the student protesters of the 60s have turned into more serious revolutions.
That is some trailer.
Yeah.
And a great editing job by Justin on that because there were some curse words. All right. That's a Weather Underground cell. 6 radicalized students at the height of the Vietnam War, maybe going a little stir-crazy as they wait to blow the system to smithereens. With us now are the 2 creators of Homesick, Jess Chayes, who's also the director. Welcome to BK Live. And Edward Bauer, a member of the cast. Thank you both very much for being here.
Can we start off and just let people know that we're not freaks? Because we know how to say homesick. But the play is not homesick, like I miss home. It's homesick. There's a little slash.
Yeah.
Why that?
Yeah, why?
It's funny because it took us a really long time to figure out the title back in 2011 when we first created the piece.
Yeah.
I think that, first of all, it comes from the same place as the name of the Weathermen. It comes from Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Yes.
You see Homesick is in there. And that contains the line, "You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows."
Yes,
and that's
great
where
tune.
Weatherman comes from. Great tune. And also homesick, but I think also the implication that, you know, your home, your homeland, your government is sick is also sort of the part of the implication of putting the slash in there and including, you know, just sort of breaking up the word in that way.
Let's talk about this Weatherman movement. For those who don't know, what was it about and what made you want to create this project about it?
Well, the Weathermen were a group of student radicals in the late 1960s who had been part of a much larger organization called Students for a Democratic Society, which included many campuses nationwide and had hundreds of thousands of members. And as they became more radicalized, as the Vietnam War sort of dragged on, and as they started to recognize that the racism in the American government was sort of coming to bear both domestically and internationally, they became more and more radicalized and became more passionate about the idea of the use of violence to overthrow the United States government. So this was the sort of radical and militant arm of Students for a Democratic Society that finally sort of splintered off and became the Weathermen.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that this was from 2011, and it's been revived now.
Yes.
Why now?
Well,
Why not?
yeah, I can't imagine, right? I mean, just briefly, I mean, one of the things that led us to the project and this history back in 2011 was that, you know, all of us who made the play, and I should say we are 2 of many creators of the show. There are 6 cast members. There are other designers and dramaturgs. We all wrote it collectively, so we're sort of the drop in the bucket of the creative force behind this show. In 2010, 2011, when we were first making it, you know, we had suffered through 8 years of the Bush administration.
Second coming.
Yeah, exactly. Bush 2.
Yeah.
Which people are looking back fondly at now.
Yeah, which I think that's a little overstated how nice of a guy.
That's another conversation.
So after 8 years of Bush 2, you know, and then what felt like the victory of getting Obama elected, and, you know, feeling like we had some part of that, because of congressional you know, gridlock, what felt like victory then ground to a halt, it seemed. and we found ourselves looking back to a time when people like us, younger than us even, felt like they could make massive sweeping changes to the American government. They felt like they had that power.
With no hashtags.
Yeah, exactly. With real organization, like massive student movements, and after that, with violence. And we were sort of intrigued and occasionally repelled by that, and just really wanted to dig our fingers into it.
And you mentioned you wrote it with a large group. I wonder, what is the process like, not just writing with that large group, but also creating this play about real events and real people?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, that's something that our company has been interested in for a little while, but for this particular play, it was unique because we sort of first watched the documentary, The Weather Underground, which came out, I think, around 2007. And that was wonderful. But we immersed ourselves in the memoirs of the former weathermen, you know, all sorts of histories, films about the civil rights movement, the free speech movement, and the Weather Underground and the all the student movements of the 60s, and really immersed ourselves in this research. And we would, we would sort of meet up as we were creating the play, and we'd give each other presentations, on the Black Panther Party. So we would do, we would do different days on different topics, and we would really try and educate ourselves about the movements that the Weathermen came from and about what the social and political environment was like back then. And so we became so immersed in the history that what was funny is that as we were creating the play, art was we were sort of imitating our subject material to some extent, in that we were, about 12 completely obsessed people in a basement in Crown Heights.
The trailer
exactly.
looks like you creating the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, we became this ensemble, and we became obsessed with these people, and we
didn't blow anything up.
we haven't blown anything up. But we became really obsessed with the subject material, and we sort of created the play and wrote it collectively. And we also tried not to talk to any former weathermen until after we had made the play. We really wanted to get ourselves into their skin and to try and understand what it must have felt like then.
But
and we
wait,
didn't,
As I understand it, they have become into the fold, and there's a sort of talkback opportunity after a show to meet some of these original people.
You'll be able to meet Mark Rudd, Bill Ayers, and a number of other people who weren't necessarily part of the movement, but so after the play was created, we reached out
to see it. So in our last 30 seconds, then I'm going to ask you, what do you think people are going to walk away with in this environment that we're sitting in now that's different from 2011, and how can we get tickets? 20 seconds.
You can go to assemblytheater.org to get tickets real quick. I think what people will see is, I think they will be fired up by a story of people who had real belief in the power of political change. And I think there's also a cautionary tale of going off on your own, of going rogue. And the whole point of this discussion series is to talk about building coalitions.
Well, it's Homesick. It's at Jack right here in Clinton Hill, right off of...
it's on Fulton and
right off
Waverly.
Fulton.
Yeah,
Fulton and Waverly through the 24th. Get tickets now.
Thank you for being here. Sorry we're out of time.
Thank you
You're
so
great.
much.
Go see Homesick, everybody.